The SBA likes to brag about the contract value that small businesses are winning each year, right? So in 2022, I think it was something like 150, 160 billion dollars. But that means we didn't win prime contracts that went full and open to large businesses. We missed out on close to $500 billion worth of spend. Now, we're not going to win that contract to build an airplane. We're not going to win the contract to build a battleship. There's definitely things like that. But there were a ton of contracts that absolutely should have gone to small businesses, but didn't. And so we need to learn how to go win them as full and open, right? We can complain that they're going full and open, like I just said about not enough SDVO set-asides or something. We can complain about opportunities not going full and open, or we can just go win them. And I really believe that small businesses can win them. And this is vitally important to small businesses who are getting ready to graduate in the next, 1 to 4 years or something. We can go into the large pool, full and open contracts, and we can win them. David did this against Goliath, and I believe small businesses can do this against larges. So do me a favor, put win FO contracts, F&O contracts, full and open, win full and open contracts in the chat if that's why you're here today and you're excited to get some tips from me on how we can do that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonnell. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to my daily live federal sales training, where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years as a small business owner in the federal market, and since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. When you follow the process A to Z, you're going to have repeatable, predictable results, and that's what I want for you, and I know that's what you want for yourself. Before we get started, do me a favor. Part of the process is letting buyers know who you are, letting others know who you are. In the comments, in the chat, put your company name and your core competency, 2 or 3 keywords, and a keyword can be more than one word. For example, workforce development, right? So put 2 or 3 keywords into the chat to describe what your company does, what you want to be found for. Let the people in the chat, this is your community. It's possible teammates. Sometimes we get buyers in here. Actually, this coming Thursday, I'm going to have my first of what I plan on doing every week is a federal guest coming in and talking about their needs at their agency, their office, or whatever. Well, I want you to tell them who you are and letting them know who you are. So put that into the chat. Finally, I wanted to say thank you to our sustaining members. We're not funded by the government. We're not funded by large primes. We're self-funded. Sustaining members like you and me, we're the ones who make these trainings possible for all small businesses. So thank you definitely on their behalf, sustaining members. Okay, I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and talk about the 3 things small businesses must have in place to win full and open contracts. So the first thing we're going to talk about that small businesses should have is a clear and focused offer. And by the way, just because I like jumping to the end and letting you know what I'm gonna talk about what you should have and how you can go get it. But you want to have full and clear focused offer. The second thing I'm going to talk about is having the discipline to focus on one target customer. And the third thing is you want to have many past performances, relevant past performances related to your focused offer. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to guide you through why that is so important. And if you put these in place, these 3 things, then you're going to be able to compete against and win full and open contracts, certainly against the largest when those opportunities should have gone to small. So again, let's talk about having a clear and focused offer. You want to get known for a niche, right? You want to get known, for example, my last company, we were known as the SharePoint guys. You maybe want to be known as the elevator lady, right? You want people to be able to go, I know what you do, right? You need to go talk to the SharePoint guys. Oh, you're the SharePoint guy. I have a SharePoint need, right? Get known for a niche. If you want to go after full and open contracts, you must get known for a niche. Don't be known as a company that does everything, because they won't come to you because they rarely need everything. They need this thing. Examples of clear and focused offer could be elevators. Like I just said, instead of all construction, building construction, et cetera, you say, look, we do elevator installation, repairs, maintenance, and annual O&M or regular O&M, whatever that is. So elevators, SharePoint is a clear, focused offer. Zero trust, right? Cybersecurity is this big core competency or competency, and zero trust is a focused offering in there. Same thing with something called zero emissions. The federal government is trying to lower their emissions on cars or the even building emissions, right? For the environment, as they're working to protect the environment and less impact on the environment. So zero emissions could be a focused offer. Going back to construction, right? Painting, could be a focused offer. Oracle, if you're an Oracle shop or a Salesforce shop, right? Being known for that niche is a good thing. And so you really want to get narrowed down on your niche and pick that niche. By the way, I'm going to keep to that theme, but keep in mind, just because you have a niche doesn't mean you can't sell other things to the customer once you're in. So when you have a clear and focused offer, your company is going to be seen as a subject matter expert and a trusted advisor. This is huge. Like I said, oh, you're the SharePoint guys. They're going to see you as an expert in whatever you want to be seen as the expert, right? A trusted advisor. What that means is they want to bring you in, maybe even before the RFI, to say, hey, we've got this idea. We're going in this direction. Can we just pick your brain a little bit? Do you have any white papers or videos? Lessons learned from other agencies, whatever it is. When they know that you're the subject matter experts, then they will feel comfortable bringing you in as a trusted advisor. And when they do, then you can drive those requirements. I got asked the other day from somebody asking, how can I get into opportunities? Shifting left is what I call it. And they were saying, get into opportunities earlier, before SAM, before the RFP, obviously, but even before the RFI. Well, you want to get seen as a SME and a trusted advisor, and your very customers that you want to sell to will bring you in to discuss it. So you can drive the requirements with them through the conversations and the discussions you have about their challenges and their goals. Another reason that having a clear, focused offer is so important to a company, especially as you try to go towards winning full and open opportunities, is that you can build a team of subject matter experts. It's not just that your company is known as a subject matter expert on something, but all of the people who are coming in, right? These people are junior, mid, senior level, but they're all around your subject matter expertise. When I had SharePoint company, right? We had junior developers, we had mid-level developers, we had developers who were like PhD quality developers who could do something in an hour that other developers might take a month to do, or not even be able to think about it. Well, it's hard to build that team when you do a lot of things. But when you have a clear, focused offer, you're attracting the talent that will build that team of subject matter experts within your company at all levels within your company. And so one of the things I want you to keep in mind, two last things about how you can shape a clear and focused offer within your company that'll lead to the full and open opportunities, is you want to make sure you understand related task areas so that you can win your contract. So an example is, if you're a SharePoint company, right, you want to understand the cloud and data and cyber. Those are fundamental to what people are using SharePoint for. But another reason this is important, and I just expanded one example, but if you go for a much bigger contract or a contract vehicle within your target agency, which I'll talk about in a second, if you go after that, often you'll see your core, clear, focused offer in there as a task area or two or three, but they'll say, hey, you must also have this kind of past performance or experience, other task areas. And so you want to understand, when you're going after a particular clear and focused offer, what are the nearby task areas that are related to it? So like cloud, cyber, data for a SharePoint company. It doesn't mean these are your core competencies. It means these are almost technology enablers to how we do SharePoint. Think about that, because it helps you go after the, in particular, contract vehicles that are vitally important along your core competency. And the last thing is, as you have a clear, focused offer, it allows you to build your relationships and partner with OEMs. So I'm using SharePoint for this example. I would partner with Microsoft or AvePoint. These are two huge, Microsoft owns SharePoint, but AvePoint is a huge Microsoft partner. And by partnering with them, I get the partner benefits that go with that. I get introductions when they're talking to federal government. The federal government's looking for a company like ours to come in and do services. Microsoft, for example, used to charge $400 or $500 an hour. So they would come in for a few hours and then bring us in for long-term commitments. And with AvePoint, I could get access to their marketing assets, as an example, and share that on social media, furthering my push that we're the subject matter experts or trusted advisors. I'll share their content and I'll talk about it and how it matters to my target customers. And so this is really important. And this is what I call partner benefits that you can get when you have a clear, focused offer that allows you to zero in on building relationships with Otis Elevators or Oracle itself or Microsoft, right? There's a lot of value from building a relationship with companies like that. So hopefully that makes sense. Put focused offer into the chat. If you understand that this is the first thing that you must have in place if you want to win full and open contracts. So put focused offer in there. So the second thing that you want to have in place if you want to win full and open contracts is the discipline to focus on one customer. And I got to say, of everything I recommend across all of my trainings, and I've done almost 300, I think, in the last 12 months, this is the hardest thing. FOMO is a big, real challenge to everybody, but to small businesses in particular. But you need to have the discipline to focus on one target customer. And I'll make it easy for you. It can be a department. It doesn't have to be a subordinate agency like CDC within HHS. It can be the whole HHS. But it needs to be a customer that's large enough annual spend in what your focused offer is, right? If you have a clear focused offer, you want to make sure you have one target customer that is big enough, that spends enough on what you sell, that you can grow, and then you can grow into the full and open opportunities. So an example is, if you do IT services, perhaps the forest department is not the right place to go. Forest services under USDA, perhaps that's not the best place to go because they don't spend a ton on IT. But if you're in anything to do with forest services, fire, roads, all the different installations and national parks that are around, if you support that actual activity, then that's a great place. If you're in construction, a great department would be the United States Army Corps of Engineers, because they are the federal government's construction arm. Independent of all the other construction going on, that's who is defined as the experts, right? And so it's important for you to choose that right customer. But if you want to win full and open contracts, you need to have one target customer. And I'll tell you why. First thing is, as you're in there and you're continuing to grow your business, you're going to be inside the wire. So once you win a contract or two contracts, et cetera, you're inside the wire. What it means is you've got a security card so you can get in, you can walk the halls, you have an email account perhaps, so you're looking at the global address list, you have relationships. When you're inside the wire, you're an incumbent, then you have access to everyone. You can reach out and begin to build relationships and meet with everyone, both government and industry, right? There's a lot of people in there who are teaming partners that you can find their program managers on site or in that area. So that's a big thing that you can develop as you stay focused in one customer. You'll gain necessary insight. So an example is the Navy. They have boats and they have installations that are on land, right? And they call them a float and a shore. And if you think about IT services, are often talking about how you get things back and forth from the boat to the installation, et cetera. Well, when you stay in there, you're able to build that experience and that knowledge. You begin to understand and gain insight into that customer. And that's what customers want. When you try to win full and open contracts, they're going to want you to understand their agency, not just their mission, but how we work. And any certifications that they have that are unique to them, you'll be tracking on. When you're in a single department, right? Another reason this is very good, it helps to, going after full and open contracts, is that you can build relationships across agencies, across commands. An example is when I had a contract at the Department of Homeland Security a few years back, there was an enterprise architecture contract at the headquarter level of Homeland Security. But I worked with chief architects at every single component agency within DHS. And so I was able to build those relationships, and I was able to gain a reputation through word of mouth. It's like, oh, do you guys know Neil? Do you guys know this company? Yeah. And so that's what you can do when you're in one target customer compared to when you're spread across many. It's hard to get any of that word of mouth good reputation going around. Even bad reputation, it's hard to get it, because if you're spread across many agencies, they don't even talk to each other. But inside a command, right? These chief architects I talked about, once a month, they would come together in the same room. They're going to talk to each other. Another reason you want to have focused target customer, a single focused target customer, it allows you to actually do capture, right? So since you have these relationships in place, capture is about identifying the information you need to write a winning proposal and going in and getting it. And the way you get that is to go in and have discussions and dialogue. You don't go in and ask a quick question and get out, right? That's coming after the fact. You're doing capture as that opportunity is being shaped before the RFI. And then the RFI hits and you're able to get engaged. How was the response that you got back to the RFI? What did you like about things? You're able to do a lot more capture because you have taken the time and you have the ability to build the relationships with the chief data officer, the CIO, the CIO's direct reports, the person in charge of construction, right? You're able to build all those relationships. You can also build these relationships with teaming partners. So when you go into a single department, you can start reaching out to companies that are winning already in there, larges and smalls, right? But you also can find companies that have similar experience to you, so that as you move forward, you want to be able to find companies that you can team with. And when I say teaming, I mean sometimes you're subcontracting and sometimes you're priming and subbing out. And I want you, as it relates to this one focused customer, right? I want you to subcontract a lot in there. That's really important that you, when you get a prime contract opportunity, you try to sub as much as you can. It doesn't mean you dilute it completely, right? But 2, 3, 4 teaming partners is not unrealistic the bigger the contract goes. And so making a point to do that. This is really important, by the way, because for agencies, they want to see you working together. And the last thing I want to say as it relates to having the discipline to focus on one target customer is that as you start looking at that one target customer, each agency has unique contract vehicles. For example, Navy has Seaport Next Gen as one of their major contract vehicles. Well, you begin to identify them and you look out 3, 10 years and can see which vehicles are out there and which ones you want to get on and what you need to be able to win it. You don't wait till a draft RFP drops to begin looking at that. You're looking at it years in advance, which allows you to then compete a lot more on full and open. So there's a lot to be said in there, but the main point of this slide was about having the discipline to focus on one target customer. And that can be a department level customer like DHS, VA, Army, not DOD, too big, but Army, Air Force, etc. USDA, pick one and go deep in and really know them very well. When you do, you will have the opportunity to compete full and open because now you're bringing that agency intimacy in. So put one department into the chat, right? Let me know that you'd see that as the second thing you must have in place if you want to win full and open contracts. So a clear and focused offer, and then the discipline to focus on one target customer. So the last thing you need to have in place in order to win full and open contracts are many relevant past performances related to your focused offer. I am not the person who's going to tell you, hey, you can have 1 or 2 past performances and win full and open. If you do, I call that luck. And congratulations to you, right? But the norm in order to win really anything, but especially full and open contracts, is you need to have not just relevant past performance, but many relevant past performances so that your customer can see that you are that subject expert, that this core competency that they're going after and this requirement they have is what your company does. And so you want to make sure you have a lot of past performances that are not spread across many different activities like, elevator painting, flooring, road. If you have all that, they don't see you really as an expert. They just see you as a company that can, win these different contracts. But if they really wanted a company to take care of elevators, if you had 4 elevator contracts, for example, or 40 elevator contracts, now they're seeing that you're the expert, and they're all tied to that clear focused offer that you have, right? Either tightly, like SharePoint, or loosely, where I said maybe it's data or cybersecurity on SharePoint, or migrating apps, homegrown mission critical apps to the cloud on SharePoint, right? So a little more loosely on there. What you want to do is avoid any unrelated past performance that you can. It's very hard to say no to a contract you feel like, oh, we can just win. It's like, if it's not in your core competency, it's going to crowd you. It's going to be bad for you as you move forward because it'll cause doubt, right? It's not the ultimate loss on it, but it causes doubt. Compared to, you can remove all doubt by just making sure your past performances are in the business that you want to go after. And you can build a $100 million business in a particular niche as you move forward if you just do it in a way that makes sense. Clear focused offer, one target agency, and having the relevant past performances. When you think about past performances, by the way, if you're early and new to this, just think about it going from $100,000 wins, right, to several of those, to then several $1 million wins, several $5 million wins, several $10 million wins, depending on where you're at, right? That as you continue to grow, you will have bigger and bigger opportunities presented to you because your past performance shows that you can do the work. I have a customer that I looked at this morning in preparation of today's call, and I looked at their past performance, and like for the last 2 years, many different opportunities, all of them in FPDS say enterprise architecture or something, but enterprise architecture, and all of them are in this range of $2 to $9 million. And so that means these guys are doing task orders, multiple task orders a year related to enterprise architecture. They can easily be seen as a $100 million enterprise architecture prime contractor as a small business, right? And that's what you want. You're building strong CPARs when you keep getting these related past performances. Your CPARs, the number one tool the government goes to look for your past performance, right? If people go in there, they will just see enterprise architecture, enterprise architecture, enterprise architecture, like I mentioned, right? And so if the clear focused offer is enterprise architecture and your core target customer, let's say is Air Force, then your past performance of all this enterprise architecture is going to allow you to keep winning business within the Department of Air Force and other DoD entities because you're seen as a subject matter expert and a trusted advisor. One of the other reasons it's really important not just to have a lot of relevant past performance, but relevant past subcontracting experience and prime contracting experience is because you're going to be able to address past performance criteria. When an RFP drops, it might sit there and say you must have past performance that has similar size, like 9 million, 2 million, whatever, or similar scope, the type of work that's being done. And when you have many past performances within your core competency, you're going to be able to clearly get, excellency or excellent ratings on the past performance criteria, et cetera. One of the other things that's important as you go after bigger contracts and you're going to be teaming with other companies, agencies look for you to have already worked together. You can't just bring 4 random companies and come in because the government's worried about the risk of you not playing well with each other, right? So if you make a point of your past performances, trying to find companies you can subcontract under, trying to find companies you can subcontract on your prime contract, when you do that, you're strategically building these relationships in working relationships. Hey, we've worked on this contract, we've worked on this one. And that's a really important one to reduce the concern the government has about the risk of maybe you guys not knowing how to work together. So that's really important as a criteria. I like the borrowed trust and credibility. I talked about in DHS, you go from one agency to the other and this word of mouth and reputation. Well, you have this borrowed credibility and borrowed trust that if I go to another agency within that same department, they look over and they go, well, if they trust you, then we probably can trust you as well, right? And especially if some of those people who were in the previous agency just moved over to a new agency, this is really important to you. So that whole idea of if they trust you, then I can trust you. And the last thing I want to mention, and this is hugely important to me, on how you can grow strategically, because you have a clear and focused offer targeting in one agency, you can pull key personnel from existing customers and put them on new contracts, these new ones you're going after. And you can show that this new contract, we're going to have these people who have worked for our company for a while and they've worked in this department for a while. They're going to be the key personnel on this contract. And the way you do that is you just make sure that you're pulling them off of existing customers. And because you have a great relationship with your existing customer, you can bring junior or newer folks into the existing contract, show them a little transition time together and say to them, look, this person's transitioning to another contract, but they will be right available 24/7, basically, if the new person needs any questions answered. And the existing customer will be fine with that. And the new customer will be extremely happy, especially when you go to full and open contracts. They'll be extremely happy that you're not pulling a random resume off the internet. You're pulling somebody from your talent pool into their requirement, and they'll like that. So put relevant past performance into the chat as the third thing you should have in place if you want to win full and open contracts. Small businesses can definitely win full and open contracts, right? This is a 25-minute fire hose way of talking about how you can win full and open contracts, but small businesses can definitely win full and open contracts. But it takes establishing a plan that includes having a clear, focused offer, having the discipline to focus on one department level target customer, and only pursuing opportunities that are going to lead to past performances related to your focused offer. As long as you create a plan that has those 3 main points in it, then you're going to be able to compete against full and open contracts, and certainly compete against the largest. If you found value in today's training, do me a favor, become a GovCon Chamber of Commerce sustaining member. Help others benefit from your support. If your company's struggling to start and build relationships with federal buyers, consider my 90-day BD Accelerator workshop. You can just reach out to me on LinkedIn if you got questions, you want to learn more about that. And remember, government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. I'll see you in tomorrow's training.